Hey guys, it's Vanessa, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our spooky season episodes. So thankful you guys keep tuning in and indulging me in all of my spooky season love. We're going to have an episode just like we've had the past couple of times. We're having an eclectic mix of lots of different things. So sit down, buckle up, turn up the radio, or zone out on your AirPods, however you listen, and let's jump right in. Hey guys, it's Vanessa, and I am back with Miss Christine Hankins. Christine, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on today.
No, I'm excited to have you. I know you guys are probably getting sick of hearing our Frederick stories, but I mean, it's a big staple in our family. So I asked Christine to come on and share some of her spooky encounters that she's had over the years at the Frederick building.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to spend a big bulk of my life being
a lot
in
of your
the Frederick.
Yeah, because your mom worked there, right?
Yeah,
many years.
so every day in the summer when I couldn't stay home, I had to go with her.
Yeah, I bet you do have a lot of spooky encounters that you've had.
So I mean, of course, me being a kid, I'm not going to sit in my mom's office all day.
No.
So I have a whole building that I can just go wander around.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I found more than I bargained for several different times.
Oh my gosh.
And so, of course, just a little backstory, my grandpa's law office was there at the Frederick building.
Right.
So it was fun to be able to go up there and hang out. They had extra computers, and I was in, the era of AIM.
Oh, yeah. You got to get on there and talk to your besties. Get a good away message.
Right. So that was what I would like to do during the day, but sometimes I was in that office by myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I had always gotten some really odd vibes from the Frederick. You know, you just always kind of feel like someone's there watching you.
I said that on the last episode. It's like you don't really feel like you're in danger per se, but you never feel alone.
Yeah, never.
You never feel alone.
Even now, when I go there, there's just, especially on certain floors, it's worse than others. But, I would spend a lot of time in Grandma and Grandpa's office, and a lot of times I was by myself, and I would always sit back in the back office. Mm-hmm. And something that started happening to me when I was there is over the speaker system. Home on the Range would play in a lullaby type instrumental version.
Oh, y'all can't see me at home, but I'm barely.
But the bad part was though is
I've got chill bumps.
The speaker system was disconnected, so it was not used.
Right.
And me being the kid that I was, I was like, oh, maybe there's something in here that's playing it. So I tried to figure it out.
You're investigating?
No, there is nothing in Grandma and Grandpa's office that's playing Home on the Range. And it started to happen more frequently, when I was in there by myself.
Well, they say that, and I don't know what you guys believe at home, but they say, and I don't know who they are, but it's almost like spirits try what they can to try to make contact with you, and once they know, hey, that person can hear us, it's
they just keep doing
it. Yeah.
And
you become a medium for them.
Wholeheartedly feel like if there was one there with me watching me, they were 100% realizing I'm hearing this, and I am freaked out.
Oh yeah. I can guarantee it. Your sister had a similar story that happened to her when she was writing a paper one time in the Frederick, and when I was searching up things to do for spooky season, it's funny because she had wrote an essay in high school that got published, and it came up, and I was like, oh, I know her. I know this story, And
I feel like her experience was kind of one of the first ones, because that happened not long after Grandpa bought the building. So
oh, really?
That was kind of
I didn't know the
gateway of realizing this place got something weird going on with it.
Oh, yeah. And I was telling last week when I had some other people in the studio, the amount of times that you would hear a woman walking in high heels.
Yes.
Throughout the whole building. It wouldn't matter where you are.
No, I experienced that as well. even, like I said, you know, when I was
and
in
it's very
Grandma,
clear. You absolutely know what the sound is.
When I was in Grandma and Grandpa's office, and, you know, at the time, there was people that worked in the Frederick, but a lot of times I would be there and there weren't people there. It was after business hours.
After business hours.
And you could hear it plain as day. And I would even open up the door and look out, and there's nothing there.
Right.
There's nothing
there. And I, when we lived on the 3rd floor, and I don't know where this comes from. Someone told me at some point, and I'll try to remember and update you guys at home. But someone told me that something had happened to some children on the 3rd floor. And when we lived there, you would actually hear children running up and down the hallway, like just playing and having a good time. And it wasn't anything scary, but I mean, after so long, I mean, we lived there for a few years, you get used to it, but at the same time, it gets under your skin more and more the more often that it happens.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn it, I just want to see these kids.
Right.
Like, I'm about to start following them, which I never did because I'm a scaredy
chicken.
cat. I'm such a fucking chicken. But, I mean, there's parts of the Frederick that are still untouched from...
It's like stepping back in time.
It really is. And when you step in, like, I mean, it's the smells, it's the sights,
I remember exploring through there one day as a kid, and I opened up a closet, and it was full of old maids' outfits.
Oh, yeah, their uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah. The upstairs is super cool, which now we've got people that are living up there. Our grandparents are living up there. But was it a law office back in the day?
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that ever was built on that floor other than like the maids and maintenance quarters.
And I want to note, this is the 6th floor.
Yes, this is the 6th floor.
And I actually have a story with that too. The 6th floor, you know, it used to be locked. You know, you couldn't just access it on the elevator.
Exactly.
You had to, you know, enter in a key to be able to get up there.
And they kept the main door locked as well, like when you got to the top of the stairs.
The elevator would... Sometimes whenever I would ride in it, the 6th floor would light up like something has pushed it,
waiting
so you can
to
go.
Get on the. Oh no!
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh no! Like, it was like my worst fear.
And then you're stuck
to go to the 6th floor. I'm like, I cannot go to the 6th floor.
Right.
Something is going to eat me.
You're paralyzed, right?
Yeah.
You're paralyzed.
Yeah, and I'd be in the elevator, and like I would be going to like 2nd or 3rd floor, you know, and then all of a sudden I'd just be sitting there, and the 6th floor would light up, and I'm like, oh hell no!
Hell no!
Get me off this elevator!
Not today,
right
Satan.
Now we are not doing
Satan.
this.
Yeah, so like that part, I'm sure you've explored it over the years, but whenever we were living there, I told this on the last episode, there was what we thought was a water leak. So we were up there looking for a water leak, and I mean, it's like nothing has changed. It's back in the day when you would check into the hotel, they would unpack your luggage for you and then take your suitcases and all your belongings and store them upstairs in those quarters.
In those creepy looking cages.
In those creepy little cages. Yeah. So all of that stuff, it's still there. It's still there to this day. So the building itself holds so much history, and we were talking with Josh Carnes last week, and I was telling him about a story of his that I think is phenomenal, and just it gives me all the chill bumps. But I was telling him the most stuff that we would notice was always when they were doing construction on the Frederick.
Yeah.
Anytime they were redoing a townhouse or a condo or something to that extent, that's when all the eerie things would start happening. Yeah. They do not like construction. They don't like change.
No, they do not like to be messed with. They like their spaces as they are.
Yes.
And they're saying, hell no, you ain't coming in here and redoing this.
Nope. Which is probably why half the wing is like still exactly the same.
I know, no one wants to mess with it.
Over the years, everyone's like, no, thank you. Too many weird things are happening.
We're good.
All right, so Christine, why I have you here, thank you obviously for sharing your story, but let's talk about some old like wives' tales that in Appalachia we've heard over the years that may or may not have stuck with us. I know I shared one with you that my grandma has instilled in me, that when you are leaving a graveyard, you never look backwards because you're inviting the spirits to come with you. Have you ever heard that one?
I actually hadn't heard that one until you told me about it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
But now, like, I don't ever want to look back, because
exactly I don't want to risk it. I can't risk it. Like, I cannot.
But, I mean, that just goes in with, like, you know, one that you've given me here is about how things can attach to like different furniture and things like that after someone dies. Like a spirit can attach to it, and like I believe in that. Like I feel like
there's the whole doll phenomenon. Like there's dolls that are possessed.
The haunted ones.
Yes.
And I mean I just think, you know, if it was something that was like a prominent piece in a family, and like as much as I love antique shopping and going, but at the same time I'm like, what am I bringing home with me?
Right, exactly. I'm in this weird Goodwill finding group, and a woman found this really sweet vase, and then she gets it home and opens it up, and it's full of fucking teeth. Full of teeth, and she's like, I swear to God, if I'm cursed from this Goodwill purchase, like I knew this is the place that I needed to share this, and everyone would understand.
I would be absolutely mortified.
I know. It literally looked like, she took a picture of inside the vase, and it looked like a family collection of teeth that they have lost over the years to like the Tooth Fairy.
I mean, I guess, like, you know, like, I don't know what to do with my child's teeth, so I guess I could start putting them in a vase.
Start putting them in a vase and donate it to Goodwill.
But they might end up in Goodwill.
Isn't that funny, though? So another old wives' tale that I've always heard of is once you've been bit by a snapping turtle, that it's going to cling to you until lightning strikes. I've never been bit by a snapping turtle to know if that's true, but have you ever heard that one?
No, I haven't, but
you're like, no, never.
And I don't think I'm going to get close enough to a snapping turtle that I have to worry about it.
Right. True that.
Now, I will say this one, I have heard, if you touch a corpse on the forehead, they will not haunt you, and you will not have nightmares about them. So
I have heard that one.
Next time, you know, you're at a funeral, it always kind of like weirds me out to touch somebody, but
so when it's like not an immediate family member, it does me like really bad. But I remember like when my mom passed, this like urge in the back of my mind telling me like, you have to touch her forehead, you have to, because I grew up hearing that one too.
Yeah.
Like that if you don't want to invite their spirit back with you, like you've got to touch them on their forehead. So I gave her a kiss on her forehead and was like, thanks Mom for not haunting me.
Yeah, like you just stay right here.
You just stay right here where you belong. Right here in this box.
I kind of wish I would have known about this one. A knife should be placed under the bed of a woman giving birth, and it will cut the pain.
Ooh. Yeah. I've never heard that one, but I wish I would have known too.
Do you think it would have been okay if I would have rolled up in the hospital
with a
knife?
Yeah, just rolled up with a knife and be like, hey, just so you know, my grandma told me.
Yeah, so we're going to put this under here to try to help this out, okay?
So, of course, we've always heard the... if you break a mirror, you got 7 years of bad luck. I'm sure you've heard that one.
Yeah.
One that I think is a little ominous is covering mirrors with a black cloth when someone dies in the house so that their spirit doesn't get trapped in the mirror. Have you ever heard that?
Ooh.
I see it always in a lot of like old horror movies and stuff, so like I didn't know where that came from, but that's one of the old Appalachian folklores.
That just kind of creeps me out.
It really is. And then I found this one, never let someone sweep under your feet because you'll never be married. Like, how many times have you, like, raised your feet for someone to vacuum or sweep under your feet?
I'm never going to get married.
Never. It's never happening.
Like, I'm cursed for life.
Great-great-grandma said so.
Tag on, there's no hope for me.
There's no hope. What about black cat ones? Have you ever heard any about black cats?
And I will say I have a black cat.
Oh, yeah.
Henry.
Yes,
I know.
Henry is so cute.
I will just tell you.
He's the sweetest kitty.
I haven't had anything crazy happen since acquiring Henry.
So he's crossing your path all the time, and you're not having to, which I heard the antidote to a black cat, like the bad omens that come with a black cat crossing your path is that you have to make a cross or an X in the sky 3 times after they cross you to... I know, it's ridiculous.
But at the same time, it like I will say, though, like, because of these, black cats are, like, one of the least adopted cats in a shelter because of it.
No.
I know.
So pick the black kitty if you're going to adopt a cat.
Yeah.
They need love, too.
They do.
They need love, too. So...
have you heard this one? A pregnant woman should never look at a dead animal as it will mark the baby.
Yes, I've heard this one, but like you have to remember, I grew up in BFE, out Wayne, actually out like Eastland. So like I have had a long line of women that have told me some crazy ass shit.
So, funny story about this one is, I mean, I didn't hear about this when I was pregnant, and thankfully, you know, my pregnancy went really, really well. But every time I would see roadkill, it would make me cry every single time.
You already knew. You knew deep down inside.
Yeah, like, I mean, I just couldn't do it. Like, I'd be like, oh, look at that poor deer. You know, like, I couldn't do it.
Oh, love your heart.
Yeah.
That's
Charlotte
like
ended up without
food.
any marks, so, I mean, I guess she's all right.
Okay. So, have you ever heard the one of, it's bad luck if you don't close a knife that you've opened?
I have heard that.
So I grew up on that one, and I still to this day cannot like return a knife without closing it myself. Or like if someone opened it and handed it to me, you have to close it.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, knock on wood. I think we still every day-to-day life, whether
I
people
do
even
that
realize
all
what
the
it is,
time. I'm like,
we're knocking on wood. Yeah, knock on wood. This never happens.
Yeah.
And another one that I read that I thought was a little ominous was the spilling salt. Have you ever heard the ones about spilling salt? And like if you do, you have to throw a pinch over your left shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, to like react that bad omen.
Yeah.
I was talking about one that I thought was a little eerie. It's bad luck if you exit a door that you didn't enter. You ever heard that?
Really?
And this one's like big time. This one's like one that people get really bent out of shape about. And I'm like thinking of all the times in my house, like when I was little, when people came over, they would come in the front door, but everyone always left out the back kitchen door.
Yeah.
Always. So like, I'm like, how true can that be? Because literally everyone,
I know.
I mean, there isn't a lot of people left in my family anymore,
right.
so maybe maybe there's some truth to it.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe there's some truth to it.
Maybe they should have been going back out the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here are the eeriest ones though, and I'm sure you've heard these because you're on TikTok like I am. We love TikTok. If you hear voices near you, the people are actually far away if you're in the woods. And if you hear noises or talking close to you, they're actually far away. In the woods, that's just the way it goes. And then if
Is that kind of like...
And if you hear your name being called in the woods, no, you fucking don't.
Yeah. Why? Who would do that?
Oh, well, but listen, I'm not questioning it because I'm not trying to fuck with nothing.
I know, like, if I'm out in the woods by myself and something's calling my name, I'm going to be like, hell no, I'm going the other way. We're leaving.
Exactly. Like, you run as fast as you can. You get the fuck out of there. So, yeah. So, another one that I read that I think is a little eerie because I'm just thinking of someone that's, like, in the woods hunting or, like, has already killed their deer for the season or something like that. I know that's totally random. But one I read was never whistle or sing in the woods. Like, I'm just imagining a hunter, like, happy as a pig and shit that they've just killed a deer.
What's going to happen?
And just, like, whistling a little sing-song. It's just a bad omen. It's bad luck.
Damn.
I wonder if it's like something to do with like you're calling the spirits, like to call your name,
or like
I don't know.
You're drawing attention to yourself.
And then I read this one, and it really like I don't want to say it resonated with me, but it really made me think twice about looking in the woods. It says, "Never look too hard in the trees because you may not like what you see," and it really made me think like. There's a friend of mine on Facebook, and I'm sure you're friends with him as well. He is always taking pictures on his property of things and being like, can you find the XYZ, whatever it is? And I'm like, I love doing them. Every time he posts them, like I get so excited. And usually it's like a wild cat or like a deer or an owl. I think it was one of them. But it sounds so true though. Like, what if you're not really prepared for what you find when you're looking?
I mean, like, every time I drive by the woods, I'm still waiting for, like, Sasquatch to walk out. Like, that's my dream. I'm fully convinced, like, this is, like, an irrational fear of mine.
I still can't have a truck pull up behind me without thinking of the Mothman, so...
Right?
You can't have someone, like, pull up on you real quick.
I know.
Like, and, like, no, thank you.
It is, like, every time... I drive by the woods at night and like there's no one around by myself and I'm like, what if Bigfoot just walked out?
What if?
And then no one would have believed me. But like
we have cell phones now.
I know.
We could catch that on camera.
I am not that quick. Like I'm just not. I am not a good photo taker.
I'm getting better at it because like I went for a long time telling Brandon, your brother, things that happen, and he never would believe me. So I've gotten better at like, you can't make this shit up kind of thing. Like I have proof. I have my camera.
Well, I will say I did manage to get the bear that walked across the street.
Crazy.
I know. It was on 8th Avenue, like right there at 31st.
It went viral, I think.
It literally like went right by, like it walked up to my door. So I was like, what the heck?
What is happening right now?
I stopped. Thankfully, there was no traffic around. And, like, I was really proud of myself because I actually had enough sense. I'm like, I've got to take a picture of this.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to believe it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, this black bear just came off of the hill and just... It's in the middle of town.
Past you.
I'm like, okay, what up
that was crazy.
I know.
So it was, like, I didn't even see it from your original post. I saw it because, like, everybody was sharing it all over social media.
Yeah, so maybe
was crazy.
I will see Sasquatch one day.
Maybe. All right, Christine, thanks for being on the show. We enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
This one is an anonymous submit from a listener, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Karen Swell of Huntington tells a story about her husband's grandmother, who was Miss Nona Nicely. Miss Swell says that during the late 1890s or early 1900s, when Miss Nicely was a young married woman, she and her husband rented a house in Milton, West Virginia. Every morning, Miss Nicely went to the dining room, and the ends of the tablecloth would be turned up in the middle of the table. After this went on for some time, one night Miss Nicely decided to stay awake and see what was going on in her home. Eventually, Miss Nicely dozed off, and when she awoke, the ends of the tablecloth were again turned up in the middle of the table. After inquiring about the house's past, she was told that a man had been murdered there and his body had been carried out on a tablecloth. Soon thereafter, the young married couple moved out of the house. Perhaps the earliest published local account of the supernatural is contained in the Huntington Advertiser for September 23, 1905, in an article titled, Guyandotte Inhabited by Ghost. At the time, Guyandotte was nearly a century old and a sleepy little river town located 2 or 3 miles east of Huntington. The article reports that for the past few nights, Guyandotte residents have been considerably worked up over a persistent and mysterious appearance of a ghost dressed in black that appears to be in mourning. The story states that the ghost frequents North Bridge and short streets where the shade is the thickest and the gloom and stillness give in to the surroundings the appearance of a most desirable stop, selected by goblins and spirits to prowl. Not dramatic at all, huh? The ghost described as having an appearance of a woman dressed in the deepest shade of black, and when pedestrians are passing along the above-named streets, she walks behind and keeps pace with them, whether they walk fast or slow, or if they stop, she will also stop. It adds that the spirit continues at this pace until the pedestrians reach a better lighted street when she disappears. Most Guyandotte women avoided the area after several had encountered the mysterious person. Several nights before, as a man was on his way home walking along one of the haunted streets, the lady in black approached him from behind, says the story. It adds that the man thought it was someone wishing for him to stop, so he waited for her, and when she got close to him, she also stopped. He tried to speak to her, but she did not utter a word and kept her distance from him. He then resumed walking with the ghost following behind him. He walked faster and she followed. Then he stopped, and so did she. At about the same time, he began to get cold chills up his back and tried to think of a way to escape from the apparition, but it was useless. Finally, he started to run for home, and looking back, he found the woman pursuer closer behind him than ever. When he arrived within a block of his home, the report goes that the neighbors were awakened by the loud yells and a masculine voice calling to his wife to hurry up and open the door for him. Whether the ghost of the lady in black ever reappeared to stalk desolate Guyandotte streets is not known. A paranormal experience may involve a commonplace object such as a weathered old suitcase, the kind you might find in an old attic, but be careful when you open the case, it may contain more than old memories. In Huntington, intersecting streets choreograph a story of privilege, love, and loss lived more than a century ago. Parallel streets named Eloise, Lucian, and Vincent connect to Hughes Street. The family name of Vincent marks the neighborhood of Westmoreland, with the Vincent Middle School, Vincent Memorial Christian Church, and Vincent Memorial Stadium. Mary Eloise Hughes was born in Huntington on August 7, 1893. She was the first child of West Virginia Representative James Anthony Hughes and Belle Vincent Hughes, a member of the politically prominent family. When the young dark-haired beauty made her debut in society, Eloise attracted the attention of Lucian Philip Smith, a graduate of West Virginia University and son of a wealthy family with coal interests. They met in January and wed in February of 1912. The family celebrated the event at Central Christian Church in Huntington in the glittering style befitting their social status. Newspaper accounts describe the bride's white satin gown trimmed with lace with a veil of orange blossoms. The bridal party scattered pink rosebuds along her path. Eloise's sister served as maid of honor, and Lucian's brother James stood by him as best man. In the fashion of the time, the couple departed for an extended honeymoon trip around the world. They boarded the RMS Olympic luxury liner to tour Italy, France, and Egypt. By April, the newlyweds decided to return early to West Virginia. Some historians say that the couple became homesick for the West Virginia hills. Others claim it was because that they realized that happily Eloise was in a delicate condition. They booked passage on the maiden voyage of the largest luxury liner in its day, and on April 10th, they boarded the RMS Titanic. On April 14th, Eloise slept in her cabin as her husband James played bridge with 3 shipboard acquaintances. Near midnight, a noise woke Eloise. She quickly settled back to sleep, and then she woke again when her husband Lucian settled on the cabin lights and urged her to rise quickly and dress warmly and go to the deck. No cause for alarm, he reassured her. The ship had hit an iceberg, and just as a matter of form, the captain wanted all ladies on deck. Many passengers did not realize how dire their situation was until the Titanic launched a distress rocket and officers began loading women and children into lifeboats. Several women refused to part from their husbands and had to be forced to go. Lucian reassured Eloise that it was just a usual cautious practice for women and children to board the boats, and that the ship was fully equipped for the situation and that all would be safe. She joined Lifeboat 6 along with Margaret Brown, later also known as the unsinkable Molly Brown. Regulations in that era required the ship to only carry 16 lifeboats, but the Titanic exceeded the standard by having 20. Fully loaded, the boats could have carried up to 1,178 people, still short of what would have been needed for the approximately 2,224 passengers and crew aboard. Survivors stated that the most lifeboats pulled away with was only at half capacity. Reports tallied that 710 people were saved, and estimated 1,514 passengers and crew perished. Eloise survived. Her husband Lucian did not. She delivered their son, Lucian Philip Smith II, on November 29, 1912. Eloise married a fellow Titanic survivor, Robert W. Daniel, in 1914. They divorced in 1923. She married again, this time to Captain Lewis H. Court of Huntington in 1923, and he died in 1927. Her fourth husband was C.S. Wright of Charleston in 1929. They divorced. Eloise returned to Huntington and her first married surname, Smith. She became active in politics and was considered a gifted speaker. In May of 1940, at age 46, Mary Eloise Hughes Smith died of a heart attack. The old creaky bus wound its way up the hill, the headlights cutting through the thick fog that seemed to cling to the streets of Huntington like a damp shroud. Inside, the Marshall University students huddled together, their usual chatter muted by the eerie atmosphere that hung over the city like a pall. It was homecoming weekend, but the excitement that usually filled the air was overshadowed by an unsettling sense of dread. It had started with little things: a missing poster on campus, a whispered rumor in the student union, a flicker of movement glimpsed out of the corner of an eye. But as the days drew closer to the big game, the occurrences grew more frequent, more brazen. Doors would slam shut on their own, the sound of echoing down the empty halls and the dorms. Footsteps thundered overhead in the dead of the night, growing fainter until they seemed to vanish into thin air. And then there were the apparitions, ghostly figures glimpsed on street corners, their faces twisted into grotesque grins. At first, the students tried to brush it off as mere trickery, the work of bored pranksters or overzealous fans. But as the encounters grew more vivid and more real, they couldn't shake the feeling that something malevolent was stirring in the heart of Huntington. It was then that the legend of the ghost of Marshall began to circulate. They said it was the restless spirits of the 75 football players that perished in the 1970 plane crash, their lives cut short in a blaze of fire and twisted metal. Now they roam the city seeking justice, seeking peace. The students tried to stay indoors, to barricade themselves behind locked doors and flickering TV screens, but the ghosts were relentless, their presence sleeping into every corner of the university. They would appear in the reflection of a window, their eyes glowing with spectral light. They would whisper names in the ears of the sleeping, their voices like mournful sigh on the wind. And then there were the disappearances. At first it was just a missing backpack, a forgotten jacket. But as the night of the homecoming game drew near, the vanishing grew more frequent, more sinister. A student would step into the bathroom and never emerge. A figure would walk down the street and never be seen again. The remaining students were paralyzed with fear, unable to move, unable to escape. They huddled together, their eyes fixed on the doors, waiting for the ghost to come for them. And come they did, their forms materializing out of shadows and their faces twisted into a snarl of rage. One by one, the students vanished, pulled into a spectral realm of vengeful spirits. until only one remained, a lone figure cowering in the corner of an empty room. The ghost closed in, and their icy breath was washing over him, their eyes burning with fierce light. And then, just as all hope seemed lost, the first light of dawn crept over the horizon. The ghosts let out a collective howl and rage, and their forms simmering, growing translucent. And with a final mournful sigh, they vanished into nothingness, leaving the lone student shaken but alive. The city of Huntington was silent, the university deserted. But as the days passed, the students began to return, and their faces haunted by the memories of that terrible night. They would gather in their hushed groups, sharing tales of the ghost of Marshall. And if you ever find yourself in Huntington on a foggy night, you might just hear the distant thunder of footsteps, the mournful sigh of a phantom crowd, for the ghosts of Marshall are always there, lurking just out of sight, waiting for their next victim. Hey, we're back with Josh Garnes, and we are talking spooky stories. Last time we had Josh on, we got one story out of him, but we ran a little low on time, so we're back with a second story about a house that he actually owns and currently lives in. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
I love this story. I'm so excited for you to share it with everybody, and I'm not real good on the logistics side of things, but I would love if we could get this audio out to the listeners somehow once you tell them the story. That would be great.
The audio and video.
Yeah, you need the video as well.
So I guess I could post it in the comments of the actual post on this.
Yeah, let's do that.
When you put it on Facebook.
That'd be perfect.
So I guess to start with the story,
yeah.
I buy old houses and fix them up, and I've never really had too many crazy things happen except for the Frederick. That was the only other issue. Like, not really issue, but weird paranormal things. But this house that I bought on 4th Avenue in Huntington, it's like a big old, like, 4-square type house.
It's a beautiful home.
It is beautiful. It's got a big porch in the front, and it's 3-story. It's I think they call it terrazzo or whatever. Terrazzo, something.
Yeah,
floor on the porch.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's just brown brick. But anyway, so I put cameras on all my properties, especially when I'm fixing them up. And I wasn't living in this house at the time. And I went to the house to, I think, cut the grass and trim the hedges and whatnot.
The basic stuff, right?
Yeah, just keeping it up. And it was a nice day. I had shorts on. I walk up on the porch and unlock the door and go inside and grab the hedge trimmer and went outside and accidentally, when I plugged it in, I had something on my, I guess my finger was on the trigger or something, and
it's like everyone's worst fear.
Yeah. It
happened to you.
It happened. It was deep, and I cut my fingers pretty bad. So then later that night, I was, wondering if I had got that on video of me cutting my fingers.
Did I catch my stupidity?
Yeah. So, and I didn't catch that part, but the part I did catch on video is whenever I was walking on the porch when I very first got to the house, and I was unlocking the door, and I heard something on the video that I didn't hear whenever when I was there when it was live, I guess.
Right.
So I turned the volume up and I listened to it again, and it sounded like an old man's voice, and it said, and keep in mind, I'm renovating this house. It's like in shambles.
Which I think I told you last time. There's something about construction.
Yeah.
Spirits do not like construction. They really do not.
Whatever it is, but yeah, like I said, old man's voice. It said, "You will maintain the property, or I will take it from you." Like in this really old, creepy voice. So I immediately just sent it to my dad and sent it to a few other people. I was like, "Do you hear this? What do you hear in this video?"
Am I crazy?
Yes. What do you hear in here? And
it's crystal clear.
Oh, it is.
It's crystal clear.
I have never heard, and this house has no neighbors either. It's on a corner.
Yep.
There's a radio station on one side. There's like across the street. There's a storage facility.
So do you have the story of your house, like the ownership? Like
I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that it's one of the previous owners.
Yeah, I know. There's been a few people die in that house because every time I buy one of these old houses, we'll look up
dig in.
Yeah, I get into the history of them. I love history anyway, so I'll dig into the history, find out who lived there when they died, when they were born, where they were from. And that guy that owned that house, his name was Louis Salem. He owned some kind of market in Huntington.
Okay.
He was the first person on the tax ticket, and that was 1936.
I feel like it has to be him, like for someone to like love the house like that.
Yeah, and
they're going to take it from you if you don't treat it correctly.
Yeah. So, and honestly, that was pretty much the only thing that happened. And maybe a couple other little things happened, but that was like the only main thing that's like, wow, that kind of mind blowing.
Yeah.
insane
well,
instance.
and it, like when you're just listening to it, like us talking about it, it doesn't sound so crazy, but just wait till you hear the audio. Just wait till you hear the audio.
It's super creepy. I actually put it on my Facebook page, so I think I labeled it. If anybody wants to hear it, before I post it up, if you go to my Facebook page, Joshua M. Garnes, then search my profile for disembodied voice.
Disembodied voice.
Disembodied voice. So, and then it should pop up that video.
So you are renovating your house again right now, right?
Yeah. So it's three level house, and I got the main floor done, and then I didn't do anything to the upstairs. So So I'm working on the upstairs now, but I live in the bottom floor, which it's like a 3,000 square foot house. So
right. It's a big old house.
It's a pretty big house.
Yeah.
And so I just live there with my dogs.
So anything crazy been happening since you started this remodel?
Well, the one instance so I was taking the light fixtures down from upstairs in the ceiling, and I guess it's called a globe on the light.
Yeah.
The glass, it's almost like a glass bowl. So I took the globe part off of the light fixture, and I set it on the floor behind me so I wouldn't break it because I could reuse it in like another property or one of my rentals.
And anyone that's done like house repairs, like you put all the parts like in the glass globe and you set it down.
Yeah, it's
so
like
that everything's there for you.
Putting all the screws and retaining stuff in the globe as it was set behind me. So then I pulled the ceiling down after I set that behind me and put the parts in it, and then I turned around a few minutes later and looked. The globe was actually turned upside down, and
I told you, it's the construction, man.
Yeah, and then I actually picked the globe up, and all the little screws and stuff were
like perfectly
underneath
laid
of it. Yeah,
it.
it's like somebody flipped it over and just set it down.
He was like, "Keep my light, dude."
And the only reason I know I didn't, because I remember just dropping the little bolts
the pieces,
and stuff, and I was thinking, I hope I don't break it,
Right.
I wouldn't have dropped it on the top, let it
Right.
fly
That's crazy. Well, you'll have to keep your cameras rolling and let us know if anything else happens for next spooky season. So hopefully we do this again next year.
Yeah, I'll put a camera upstairs so I can get some video. You never know.
We can't wait. Thanks for being here, Josh.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye. Hey, we were a little all over the place in this episode, but I loved every minute of it. And I love every minute of you guys letting me have this spectacular spooky season during October. Thank you for coming back each week. Thank you for enjoying the stories. Thank you for enjoying everything that I've had to offer, my guests, the content, all of it. To say I'm overwhelmed with the kindness that you guys show me is an understatement. Every time I go to check the downloads, I can't believe that they're still crawling and climbing. I can't believe that you guys keep tuning in. I am so thankful for it, and I can't wait to join you in November for Thankful Thursdays. Love you guys, and talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Tri-State Time Machine, brought to you by Alex R. White, PLLC, at SueDistractedDriver.com. If you have a memory you want Vanessa to talk more about, just send her an email at tstm@mail.com or post a comment on the Tri-State Time Machine Facebook page. Did you like the episode? Be sure to share it with friends and family. It's the only way we can continue this fun work that we do. You can find a link in the show notes that you can use to share it. And be sure to let our sponsors know you like the podcast as well. Their contact information can be found in this episode's show notes.